Hello, everyone. I'm Deanna Rice. Welcome. This is Humanity Rising. I'm here for a fill-in for Jim as he returns to his home in DC. And I'm always honored to be with this community. I have been here multiple times. If you don't know who I am, some of you may not. I am a breathwork practitioner. I'm a senior teacher for breath, body, mind workshops around the world. I have been with my mentors who wrote an award-winning book called The Healing Power of the Breath, and many books on natural medicine for mental health care. And we've helped refugees, soldiers, mass shootings, mass destruction or natural mass destruction all over the world, but started in New York City to help firefighters at ground zero with pulmonary issues and the 40,000 residents at the tip of Manhattan. I also have a business called Energy Meds Global. I'm an energy practitioner. I've brought self-health empowerment to this community with multiple practitioners from the New York East Coast area to the West Coast. My impetus is always to build a grid of practitioners around the world. And for some reason, synchronistically, I just attract all kinds of different people to build those bridges. I wanted to start, I know we've done this as a group, a breath work, so we can breathe together. We live in a very tumultuous time, and it's so important, the fundamental part of us, to connect. And so this rhythm of breathing that has been studied in the lab for 2 decades is so powerful for a resilience for our brain and our heart to come into coherence, and really everything measurable in the body goes optimal. So we're going to do a little breathing together. Again, this is coherent breathing. So I encourage you to unbusy your hands. And then I'm going to put this 2-bell track on. And we're going to breathe with this 2-bell rhythm. Just let me know if you cannot hear the bells. I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to guide you with my voice, so you can lower your eyes if you choose. There's a high tone. High tone, we're going to be breathing in together. And that's low tone. Actually, that was the high tone. That's the low tone. So let's breathe in together with the high tone. Breathing in gently through the nose. 3, 4. And breathing out through the nose. 3, 4. Breathing in gently as if you're sipping it in with a straw. And breathing out gently through the nose, letting go. Breathing in, feeling the belly rise. And breathing out, feel the belly contract. Breathing in gently through the nose, one more time, continuing, and breathing out. Now, using your imaginations, I want you to imagine you're on a beach and a wave is washing up you as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, the wave washes down. Breathing in, the wave is washing up. And breathing out, the wave is washing down. Now imagine the wave inside of you as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, the wave washes down the balls of the feet, letting go. Breathing in new energy into the body. And breathing out, letting go of old thoughts, nothing that serves you anymore. Breathing in new energy. Breathing out, letting go. Let's do a circuit. Focus on breathing in the top of your head. And And focus on breathing out the base of your spine. Breathing in, top of the head, every little hair follicle. And breathing out, base of the spine, the whole pelvic basin. Breathing in, new energy into the crown. And breathing out, base of the spine. Let's do something for our heart. Breathing in, our left arm, left palm up to the heart. And breathing out the right arm, right palm, letting go. Breathing in, new energy up the right arm to the heart. Feel your heart expand as you breathe out the left arm, left palm. Breathing in, new energy up the left to the heart. Breathing out, right arm, right palm. One more time. Breathing in, right arm up to your heart. Breathing out, left, letting go. One more circuit. Let's breathe in our belly button into the abdominal cavity, new energy. And breathe out the kidneys in the back, letting go. Breathing in, new energy into the belly, all the abdominal organs. And breathing out the kidneys in the back, letting go of fear. Breathing in, new energy as your belly rises. Breathing out as your belly contracts. Let's just finish with the top of the head, focusing again, breathing in, top of your head. And breathing out, base of your spine. Beautiful. One more time, top of the head. And breathing out, base of your spine. Beautiful. Coming back. I know I've done a full round with everyone in this community. It's such a really invigorating. It's when your brain gets relaxed, but also alert. That's the beauty of it. So I want to honor this amazing person that is bringing a fascinating program today. I am a New Yorker, as I've mentioned, and it sounds like Erica K. Webster is one of the earliest transgenders, and she is a veteran of the Stonewall Rebellion in 1969. Wow, that is so interesting. It is the birth, of course, of the modern day LGBT civil rights movement. She is a retired architectural and interior designer, acclaimed public speaker. She is the founder of A Most Perfect Love Foundation in Washington, a nonprofit corporation. One of her main goals is Promise Place Schools for unaccompanied, unhoused LGBTQIA plus youth. You go. I love this. I was so into the emerging adult population. So we have something to talk about here. It is a year-round residential school that is offering holistic education, empowerment, healing, and a safe environment where the voices of our youth are valued in the co-creation process. She has won numerous awards, fantastic commendations for her work as a peace builder, human rights activist. She believes we are all one. I agree. And now is the time to create a unified society. She will publish soon her autobiographical memoir. That sounds very interesting. In Search of a Most Perfect Love, and is currently working on a movie screenplay based on her memoir. Welcome, Erica K. Come to the program. This is a perfect community to share this knowledge and your experience. If you just come on screen, I want to welcome you. Welcome. You are on mute, dear.
Got it.
Okay.
Good morning, all you beautiful, wonderful friends and relations.
You have such an interesting story. I'm fascinated by it. It's such important information. I know you want to talk to the audience today, and I'm here to communicate in Q&A. Would you like to take it over, or do you want to talk a little bit first, you and I?
Well, I would like to start by welcoming a very warm welcome from the hearth of our home in Olympia, Washington, within the Cascadia bioregion from the beautiful shores of the southern tip of the Puget Sound. Thank you all for being here today. And Deanna, at any point you would like to ask a question, you're welcome to do so. All the members of the audience. What I'm going to be speaking about today is from an Indigenous two-spirit perspective, which took me a lifetime to fully grasp and understand. I recall having died in my previous life and returning to Source. And in preparation for a quick return in the human form, I was given many instructions and message to bring, but it wasn't time to deliver until I had fully awakened and fully remembered. And that's what I'm going to share today.
Beautiful.
Those memories.
Wonderful.
Those memories, because this message, I know, because those memories existed within me, kept urging me to progress and to grow and to become one with what I refer to Source energy as the most perfect love. I look around, and that's why I'm presenting from outdoors today, connecting to everything I see that was created so perfectly. The trees, everything that we see in front of us. And I've come to a place where I sit in awe and wonder about how perfect everything really is. My introductory name as a two-spirit grandmother of the Frog Nation is an Indigenous name because we think we understand that there are only two genders that exist. And it took me a lifetime to finally figure out why I came as two-spirit. And to stay on topic, I'm going to go directly to a brief explanation of my previous life, which I remember as a very tumultuous time. I am from the Cherokee Nation. And at that time, in that as past life, I was full-blood Cherokee. I'm still Cherokee, but mixed with Scottish blood. I remember us being removed from our homes, from our land, and taking a long journey on the Trail of Tears. I remember the collective grief. In fact, it was with me when I was born into this life. Because on the planet, I could never grasp or understand why we had such a need for power and control and to harm others. I was shot after we had arrived in Oklahoma and had been given a grant for land on the reservation. And for the first time in that lifetime, I finally felt a sense of real peace and belonging. And it won with everything. And I remember and recall so clearly a band of soldiers coming down a road. I saw a rifle raised. And in this peace, I'm like, there's supposed to be no harm coming to any of us at this point. And I stepped in front of my soul twin, that there is such a love and a bond, because at the time of creation of our spirit, we were created together as twins. And it is a love that is so deep. I stepped in front of my twin and took a bullet to save my love, my great love, from being harmed. And I immediately left the body and began to rise. And I crossed a bridge. And when I got to the other side of the bridge, there was a guide waiting. And I'm going to close my eyes as I recall this and recant it. To my left, there was a sea of beings in eternal rest, as far as the eye could see. A vast ocean of beings. And I asked the guide, what is this place? And that was explained to me, that they were in a deep rest. And I said, I don't belong here. And he said, no, you don't. And I'm using he because that's how he presented to me. And he asked me to follow him. And we began a journey. And there were beings everywhere that were active with meditation and working collectively in co-creation. And we came to a space where suddenly I saw the ancient ones coming towards me. And they formed a circle. And surrounding, but with great compassion and love, what I had not seen in the earthly realm, I saw and felt, because it was permeating everything. And I felt in complete safety and immediately recognized the ancient ones. And I began to ask questions. There were those who came who attempted to indoctrinate us into religious beliefs. And I don't know why, but I remember the great love and compassion that Yeshua had brought Buddha had brought, Muhammad, messengers from the past that had been here on earth and delivered messages. And those messages, I understood, did not come into alignment with the divine nature of all beings. And I asked why. Why were we saying one thing and doing another? What happened to love? And with the most loving compassion imaginable, they began to explain to me the process of birth and what happens during that process as we're traveling through the birth canal and coming into our human forms, is that we fall asleep. And something had changed. A great virus of the mind and the being. The Native American or Indigenous word for that would be wetiko. And we were not awakening and remembering that we came here as spirit beings, not as human beings. Yes, we're in a body when we arrive as a vehicle to transport us through our experiences here in life. And the messages that had come so many times had been manipulated for power and for control to keep us dependent rather than interdependent. And how when we are in our spirit being, we work together collectively as a whole in all of creation. And when we're in the spirit body, we are microcosms within the great mind of Source. And the goal is to create the highest good for all concerned. And within that mind, perfection is all that exists. Oh, please bear with me for a moment. And why it is so important that we reawaken into our higher selves here on earth so that we can bring an end to this great virus that keeps us asleep. And to always remember that every being who still sleep are loved the same as those of us who have awakened. And it is our role and responsibility here to project love, to become that perfection where everything suddenly is healed and restored. And it is an energy source that is beyond the human comprehension, but it exists everywhere at every moment. From the beginning, always has been here and present. And it is here now for us to reconnect fully with that energy. We get lost in our own logic in the human form, and we forget to go back to our heart, where everything exists in us and through us, and us within that great mind, which creates only perfection, not just here on earth, but the universes. Every morning I arise at 4 a.m. while it's still dark, and I commune with the stars and with the planets and this planet, and commune with the trees and the insects and the animals and the plants. I mean, everything I see within the vision of my eyes. And remember that as spirit beings, we are that perfect love still existing. I spent 74 years searching for the most perfect love and for the great love, my twin that I left behind. And spirit showed me the reason you were born as you were born is so that your twin joined with you in spirit and is within you now. And so that I come in balance with both the female and male energies. And in that perfect balance, to be able to fully become that love in action. And at perfect peace. I was reminded in my near-death experience at 17 years old, because there was a time that I carried so much collective grief and had not awakened fully to the memories that I suffered great depression. As a child, I would lay on the ground outside and connect with the earth and with spirit. And I shed so many tears in the release of that collective grief. I was born into a very religious family. And my grandfather was a minister in a church. And within the church, I saw the bickering and the gossip and all of the other things that I know separate us from source, that certainly are not in the highest good for anyone concerned. And that is what I cried about. It's, why am I here? What is the purpose of being here? Because I always remembered the love that we know in our spirit beings, not the kind of love that we speak about here, but I'm talking about a love that interconnects us all, where we consider every possible outcome before a decision or a choice is ever made. In that form, we have the ability to see the outcomes. And that is why it is so important for us to return to co-creating through the collective consciousness of all beings here on this earth. I'm excited beyond words today. And I feel so much peace because I've watched this great awakening that is happening. And to be honored to have been invited to present here today. So many of you I know, and I have the great joy and pleasure. And I know I shed tears, but they're not tears of sadness or grief. Not today. They're tears of the deepest gratitude for all of you who are here doing the work and remembering. Because through this collectiveness, I hear the ancient ones speak with so much gratitude. And I'm to let you know that they are here with you now. They're not here in human form, but when we stop in the stillness and listen, this love that is just everywhere, omnipresent, is moving through all of us. And in that stillness, we can hear the voices that speak to us. One of the messages I received was they had grown weary. And were at a place where they felt we couldn't awaken. And that it might be time to recall us. And we are in a moment in time where they are seeing that we are awakening. And they want us to know how much they're here with us in spirit, how loved we all are, and the gratitude they have that we're awakening. We must understand that we are one with Mother Gaia. We all worked so hard, not in the physical sense, because there everything is communicated not through words or language. We just know. That's how in tune we were created from the very beginning. To work collectively and to co-create collectively. My mornings begin with there's a presence and a power within me now. It is all knowing. It is all loving. It is all caring. It is the universe individualized as me. It is God as me here now. And I'll just change that one word to source, is here now. And I just ask that you join with me in spirit. Join with each other in spirit to continue using the collective energy of source so that we may bring peace on earth, so that we may bring love back to this planet in every thought, in every action, and realize that in our ego minds, we are losing out on so much opportunity And it's so important to step out of ego, out of self, and to fully connect. And to remind us all that what we are speaking about here today exists within each and every one of us. And through that, it's time to heal the earth. If humans were recalled and not on this planet anymore, Mother Gaia would heal herself. She has power and the ability to do that. They don't want to recall us. They want us to fully awaken and to remember. And the only reason I'm here today is as a reminder we are one. We have been one since the beginning. And we continue to be one every day. And may peace prevail on earth. We are so privileged to be in service here. With the ones who are put into our care, where we live and all around the globe. Our foundation has 3 major initiatives. Of course, Promise Place School remains at the top. But Peace Village Farms, which are forming now actually globally, where we live together in harmony and peace with one another, where we care one for another. And it doesn't matter where we live, we have the ability to create our own peace villages because we have become at perfect peace by connecting every moment of our lives. It transcends all that we know here from the human teachings, from the ego mind. And we have missions in Africa where each country in Africa has been colonized and great wars and killing while we were sleeping. My greatest joy every day, of course, as a transgender woman and to spirit being, was not capable of giving birth to a child. But today, from all over the world, I receive from the children incredible messages calling me mom, grandmother. Thank you for loving us, for being here for us. Those are the great joys that keep me moving ahead every day. And all of the friends I have from around the world, and I've been so gifted to have friends in my life who have appeared here and presented on Humanity Rising, that share in the same visions, the same goals, and are doing the work, love in action. When we fully connect and remember how loved and supported we are, always have been and always will be. I don't use the word transformed very often But I remember when I was transformed. We're very active with 99 Days of Peace for Unity, the peace movement, and uh, I don't even think about the time. I don't worry about the time because time to me has no meaning. It's what's being created and what we're contributing at every moment of every day by being that love. And all we have to do to remind ourselves is to step out and see the magnificence of our beautiful mother and every inhabitant. And one of the most challenging things I believe, I know for myself, is seeing that spirit energy within those who are still sleeping and recognizing that they are loved and supported, and to love and support them. I don't know any of us that don't have errors in our lives. I remember a great time of my life being in such turmoil. I started out as a homeless kid on the streets of New York, being rejected because I was different. And I've come to the understanding that there is no such thing as normal. And every time I look at another being, I see the divine spirit within them and send love to them. It changed how I react in every aspect of my life, was suddenly transformed and became new. And with that, I'm going to ask for questions. And Diana, if you would like to come back in, I welcome you so that we might have a conversation. I don't know where we are on time.
You know, for some reason, I'm listening to you. It's so moving. Just the spirits, the wisdom of nature. Yeah, I need to start my video. It wouldn't let me. Here we go. It says I'm unable to start my video for some reason. There we go.
But I am seeing you.
Okay, no, I don't see myself here. Anyway, the beauty of nature is so fascinating to me, how you had this experience with the near-death experience and having all that illuminated knowledge around you about your own path, the twin soul, and all of what your ancestors with the Trail of Tears went through. It's such a fascinating journey for you to share, living on the streets of New York as a youth and now in this position in your life to help others, to house them. It's so moving to me that your whole trajectory of your life has brought back so much love, so much power for you to share that love with others that are going through similar experiences that you went through. I want you to really share a little bit more about that experience with the illuminated elders, because I think right now we need so much support with this cooperative consciousness that we are trying to, usher in on the planet, because it says the awakened has not, percentage-wise awakened many, with the models that we are, bastardizing so many things about nature and creating Mother Nature to take her power back. basically, I feel right now. So can you give us more, just an awareness of any methodologies other than opening our hearts? People are talking about that in the chat. When is it going to be where it doesn't matter what gender? It doesn't matter, that people are scrutinized by the way they look or what they go through, but we're all humans in a cooperative state trying to create this next level of awakening. So I commend you for all that you've done. And is there something that you want to add for us to come together further, find ways to create that cooperative state for others that are not awakened?
The message I'm hearing is when we quit seeing others as others, when we, through whatever practice that you choose, that is comfortable, that resonates with you, to reconnect fully to source energy, which is perfection. All that exists within source energy is perfect peace. It is free from condemnation, free from judgmentalness, free from sickness and disease. Everything that we've learned and been taught, let's move to forget it and to remember only that perfect peace which exists within a most perfect love. And the words I'm using are so stifling because they cannot fully describe. There are no words in existence in our languages. The closest I came was a most perfect love. And to seek perfection within ourselves in all that we do. We each have our own gifts that we bring, and we have our own skills. And each of those serves a greater purpose, a higher purpose. Learning that we are sufficient and creating a sufficient self image. And again, the language, it's so difficult, constricting.
Yeah.
It's not something that can truly be spoken. But with the opening of the heart to this divine source, and I use the word divine because, again, it is a word that seems to work.
It is,
Opening.
yeah, it is an eloquent place as humans if we can connect to that part of ourselves. The challenge is that society, certainly Western society, has created a lot of lack and a power struggle that is so difficult for us to connect to that part of ourselves. You're in a beautiful spot with these beautiful trees. Nature always, personally for me, brings me back into that space. And we both know that we lived in New York, that there's very little space of that in a large urban environment. And most of the populations in our country are living in these large urban environments without that natural nature connection. And can you just elaborate a little bit on how surviving the urban environment, what it takes to come into that centered natural nature place?
Well, I will say this much. I know that from birth on, myself in the physical body has been surrounded with forces protecting me.
Mm-hmm.
It carried me through it. After that near-death experience at 17, I had a roommate in Brooklyn who, her heart had become so hard. She had a very skewed view of the world. I was there with her as a roommate because I was put there. The synchronicity of how things develop and unfold. And I remember right then when I saw her in a fit of rage with someone, not me, where I made a commitment that no matter what happened or happens in my life, I will never, ever let my heart become hard so that I am not filled with that love. Because we carry that with us. It's the jewel within us that we can choose to carry with us. Everything we do is a choice. And I chose to become happy and to do whatever good I could do. There's nothing ever too small. A kind word, a kind action, remaining compassionate and having empathy for others, and understanding that any good that is given, we're giving to ourselves because we are ourselves. We are the only others that exist. Everything else is part and partial to the whole of everything. We are one. We always have been from the moment that we were created. And I'm not speaking of in the human form. Our very essence.
Yeah.
Everything that we're speaking about today here is already within each of us. It's remembering that.
Yeah.
My husband David and I, a little over 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago now, started selling off everything that we had accumulated. Not fully understanding why. We sold a beautiful farm in Maine, a house that I'd spent 7 years restoring from the 1800s. But we had multiple vehicles, a motorhome, tractors, all of those things. But they were only things. Preparing for the now. And then we had multiple boats. And we sold those one after the other. Buyers showed up. And it enabled us to be able to begin on the most perfect love foundation and to fund it. And I no longer live in any fear of lack. Money for me was never a motivation. It's what could be done with it.
Right.
And suddenly we saw the awakening happening. Yet we still see the struggles of so many.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid because I know Spirit is with me. I know there is protection, that we will always have enough, that we are in ourselves sufficient. And recognizing that sufficiency within to give and give and give. I don't care or worry about where it's going to be replaced from, because when the time is ready, it will show up, it will manifest. We have the ability to manifest so much more than we even begin to realize.
Yeah. There's a question in the chat I'm fascinated for you to answer, Erica, about, is the separation demon part of that two-spirit or gender separation, the Watiko?
It can be, it has been.
Mm-hmm.
We see it leaving our communities and the different nations. It is an area right now where we see a rejoining and a commitment through the prophecies. Yet
Well,
I see it.
I'd like to know more about the prophecies. That is part of, the lessons from our elders. And if you're channeling those, I think it's so important to share, certainly with this audience. We've had many Indigenous people share. I'm curious what the prophecies and your experience have been, and what's the most important focus for us right now as a whole. If we're all interconnected and there is no others, where can we focus, Erica? Where can we focus our energies to come to that place where the prophecies show we can survive this time and awaken as a whole species?
Well, we all, I believe, on this call understand that there is no death and that there is no separation. That as we fully develop that perfect love, will we become willing to give our all, whether it's just a kind word or a loving action. At 5 o'clock this morning when I'm outside, we have a family that struggles and have a beautiful child who's a gymnast and needed to be in Fort Worth, Texas for the national championship. They went to the airport. This beautiful mother, a neighbor. I'm so blessed to live in the community I live in, because this has become a peace village where we work collectively together to care one for another. And it's something we can do at every moment of every day, whether it's in our own personal life, home, where we work collectively together to just uplift each other. And it begins at home. We don't have to be doing great things. The prophecies have been fulfilled of the eagle, the condor, the hummingbird, where the tribes are rejoining and have awakened to that and are working in co-creation with spirit all the way to the Mayans, North America, South America, the indigenous tribes in Australia. Have never lost the connection, but have stepped out of the colonization and the learned beliefs that we were taught. It kept us locked and blocked from great source. I don't know. I believe Chief Lane Jr. has spoken on here.
Yeah.
Patricia Ann Davis teaches regularly. I follow them because their messages are so in alignment of what I'm speaking about.
Right.
Yet, I know I have so much more to learn, and I remain open to learning from each and every one. What happened at the airport, the mother of this child got sick. And this couple that I know here took the call, drove to Seattle, and one got on that flight so that there would be an adult guardian.
Right.
So she could compete. The other did the driving. And arrived back here at 5 o'clock this morning. For me to witness that love in action and recognizing it and honoring it. And that is what's so important, that we honor each other in what we do. No agendas.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, kindness, is a natural part of our human nature, and every act of kindness is a part of our internal structure. So it is so important for the unawakened, the sleeping, to find that kindness and connect, to that perfect love. I love that you're describing it that way, because it is a perfection that we have access to, that we are a part of, that we are, enfolding every day with. The mystery is what's fascinating too, to be on that precipice of not knowing what's going to happen and just stay in your kindness, perfect, balanced state. It takes a lot for us in modern society. We have a very crazy world right now with climate change and the political structures we all are challenged with so much. I would be interested in you sharing a little bit of your journeys with challenge, how you overcame certain things. It sounds like your journey has been fraught with challenge, the Stonewall, experience, going through your transitions. All of this is really unusual, Erica, for any human being. And to come out of it with this mindset that you have is so commendable. And so, I mean, we're all in awe of you holding space with this conscious awareness after hearing your story. So I'm fascinated in what was really, you said there was a turning point with that friend in Brooklyn when she had that reaction, and that you made a conscious choice for you not to go into that side of your psyche, side of human psyche, because there's no others, right? So when we talk, we're talking about all of us. How do we come to that place where our exterior world is being challenged so much around us? And if there's any antidote, I know the elders spoke to you, had this epiphany and this near-death experience. I mean, all of us, sometimes I hear so many stories about near-death experiences that sound illuminating. Why not stay there? It sounds like a place where I would want to stay and talk with the elders a lot and connect to the beauty of it. Unfortunately, the world that we live in is a world of contrast, right? Some people think there's evil. I always look at evil as live spelled backwards. So I'm pretty positive kind of gal with a half full glass. But a lot of people are really struggling with depression, anxiety. I work with people every day that are struggling with that. And how do we find that balance and come into, a place of empowerment? You're just an example of pure, trajectory of challenge and then coming out of it with this wisdom. I'm just in awe.
Well, first of all, there are two things I'm going to address there. And the first is the message from the ancient ones. When the wisdom teachers who came to our planet, and many have come, and these messages have been repeated over and over again, we had a choice on how we reacted to those messages. And in most instances, they became idolized and worshipped instead of the message being idealized and incorporated. And they've given us the instructions all along. Each one of us have the original instructions within us. And it's reconnecting to those original instructions when we come into a fully awakened space. What happened for us first, for me especially, I had been so career oriented and business oriented that I viewed things from a perspective of, okay, what's in it for me? I was taught that. That was taught behavior. And through the process of surrender, let go, and let spirit lead the way, I transcended all of that. And the focus became on not about what's in it for me, but what's in it for humanity as a whole.
Right.
I only seek to be remembered for the message that it is our own potential that exists within each of us to become that most perfect love. My near-death experience, why I chose to come back and return. I was shown information downloaded. I saw and was shown exactly what is happening right now at this moment. In 2013, I accepted the role for Compassion Games International and the LGBT community to become the, sorry about that, to become the international media spokesperson for Compassion Games International within our community. And we led teams all over the world in games and participating. When I lived in the Bay Area, I wrote a program called Moving Beyond Shame, a life empowerment series. The messages that we're bringing today have nothing to do with religion. It has to do with you and each of you, to remind you that you are already that perfection.
Mm-hmm.
We met with His Holiness the Dalai Lama at the Festival of Faith in Louisville, Kentucky, where we had created sets of prayer flags to deliver to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And I was invited to speak to the Louisville youth group, a large group of youth who were from the LGBTQIA plus, the alphabet soup, we call it. where I encountered so much love from these youth. And in the middle of a presentation, I was interrupted by the executive director who said he had just had to give me this message. And in the audience was a young man I had never met, and I lived 1,500 miles from, who had come across a short autobiography of my life that was preparing to take his own life. Had gone so far as to provide written instructions for his family, who, when he came across this, I don't know if it was the written word or the spirit that he felt through it, and I'm sure that had a lot to do with it, changed the entire trajectory of his life. Just because I had lived and gone through the experiences that I've gone through, and so many of them you don't even know. They're all in the book. I am an open book because I've learned how important it is to truly be our authentic self when we show up.
Yeah.
I have things I'm not proud of that I've experienced in my life, but most of them were due to discrimination that I faced. And today I work with youth all over. And I'm so grateful that they actually come to me to thank me, and their parents do as well. I served as vice president for PFLAG, Parents and Friends for Lesbians and Gays. That started right after Stonewall by a beautiful mother who loved her child so much that she could not reject him. She could only love him. And she was that beautiful spirit of love in action, and became the mother to so many of us in New York that spoke to our families. And that's how PFLAG started, to find support so the rejection of children would come to an end.
Right.
You ask where the spirit comes from. It comes from the spirit of everyone that I've ever met who taught me a lesson, because I remember that everything I see is a mirror. And it's what I choose to take from that mirror and become. And the mirrors, I don't like what I see, to not become that.
Right.
To only become that which is the highest good. And to let that be reflected in every thought, in every action, in every deed. But this was all shown to me. And that is why I chose to come back. Because suddenly during that experience, I knew that it was possible to wake up, to remember, to be an awakened being here, the common goal. That's why I say you're not insufficient in any way whatsoever. Whatever actions you take, you don't realize at this moment the impact that you're truly having. There's so much more that you don't see, so many more lives that are being touched that you're not even aware of, that you've never met here physically. And that nothing we do is without consequence.
Right.
And I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, it's the spiritual traditions coming into embodiment is what's happening. We are now, opening up more doors to that, ability to really live a life that is connected to source, that's connected to our real authentic self. Somebody mentioned that in the chat, how authentic you are. You are so authentic, holding that space of being a true human being. And, society has just had so many challenges in really connecting that, part of us with the way that it's dampened down so much of our potential. And we just need to talk more about this. And we need to, these types of organizations for the youth, it's so important for them to know that there's roots in that way of thinking, way of being, because it's at the most, central part of us. And I commend you working, with the youth and creating that space of safety. I just was curious about your transitions of going from the material world and making those choices and giving up any type of life that you had in your past and creating this new future for others. It sounds to me that's what you're really grounded in. And what is the quotient for all of us to come to a place of living that future ideal but bringing it into the now moment? If there's something that you can share about the insights that you've been able to receive from this journey that you had, reducing your, materialism, you and your husband, and then moving into this area of the country. It sounds like you moved from Maine to the opposite side of, the country in Washington State. So that sounds like quite a journey.
It was, and one I'm grateful for every day, because I have learned that we have everything we need. We bought a fifth wheel camper. This is what's referred to or called a campground. But just our presence being here and loving our neighbors as ourselves, as one, is had an impact on the lives of everyone around us. And I'm serious, it's become a peace village. And we're very fortunate, the people who own this land and provide space for those who would be homeless without it. Many that were previously homeless or rejected or unloved have found a space, a very safe space to be here, where everyone is honored,
Right.
and respected, and we live together in harmony. It just evolved. We've been here for almost 2 years, and we've watched the evolution of it. And every day, I remain in deep gratitude. We can call that a secret if we want. I don't believe it's a secret anymore. I think we've all begun to figure that out. Last year, I kept getting messages from Africa with requests for support. And it was near the holidays, while everyone else was busy preparing and decorating and doing all the things that we normally do in the holidays, during the holidays. And the requests were simply this: for a bag of rice and a bag of beans so that they could celebrate their holiday together with food.
Mm.
And the more I began to check into it, I saw a great need and all these beautiful children. And those who were very unselfishly committed their lives to creating the orphanages. And they're not massive orphanages, but there are very poor areas in the world where malnutrition truly exists.
Right.
And we've been able to share skills. I was raised on a farm. My heart and my husband, he just said to me, let's send them what they ask for.
Mm.
Within the last 9 months, we have been blessed to have the gift of an incredible human and many that have come into our lives. And I will mention his name, Pastor Ben Faith McCullough, who is a college professor that teaches English. He's over the English department. That reached out to me and became a volunteer. He's now our executive director on the ground in Africa. He's in the Congo, and we have orphanages that we support in Uganda. He just sent me a message this morning. Okay, I think we need to slow down on all the new requests for right now, and let's just focus on the 6 orphanages that we support. And I don't disagree with him.
Hmm.
Altogether, there's approximately about 250 children that are being fed. But at the same time, we're teaching them skills.
Right.
And I know Shonda Clausen, who's on the call, because I saw her in the chat, who's my dear friend and has taught me a lot about sustainability and permaculture. That we now share that information with those who are over the orphanages and are teaching them about those types of ways of surviving and sustaining the planet, at the same time providing permanent food sources for their villages. We just see them as peace villages. Yeah. Because when we are loved and nurtured with a helping hand up, no one above, no one below, no one to the left or the right, we're here to serve in support of humanity.
Right.
We just had to do, and we do.
Beautiful. I really commend you. I feel Thich Nhat Hanh's Peace Village in France when you mention your community and how much more we need of that. The perfect circle, somebody just said in the chat. It is. We are in a perfect circle. We just need to look at life in a more perfect way. And I think love is the answer. I mean, it sounds, there's so many levels of love in our world, and it's so natural to us to love nature, to love each other in a way that is part of nature, and really support the youth. I'm so enthralled with what you're doing in Africa. That sounds like, so much work that's spreading the news, and it's just something in the United States that I think when we get those factions of youth that are raised in different households that don't normally connect, the youth are always very open to enjoying each other's company. They did a whole study with the young people coming from the middle of the United States and one from the Bay Area. So it's really beautiful to hear, the kind of work that you're doing with youth. I'm so fascinated by it myself, with the emerging adult population, 18 to 25-year-olds that I've worked, getting practitioners, helping them with life tools and that experience of that selflessness, the love. So I commend you in all of that. We're coming up to the end. I just wanted to know, somebody did put your website, Erica, in the chat. Is there any other things that you want to share with this community before we go into the after chat?
I want to just touch on this for a moment. There are many incredible organizations and individuals. I welcome you to reach out to us. We are not in competition. We are here to co-create together. And however we may be support to you in your endeavors, reach out. We are happy to roll up our sleeves and go to work and be of service.
Sounds perfect.
Because we are one family. And as our dear friend Hezekiah Gabriel, who's in the Bay Area,
Yes, I know
I
Tezekiah.
admire Pathways to Peace.
Yes.
And I feel terrible mentioning names and not including everyone because I know and have been blessed to have so many incredible people in my life. But one of the rare individuals, her name is Dr. Nina Meyerhoff, and I know she's presented up here. I met when I was a homeless kid in New York on the streets.
Wow.
She wasn't who she is now, but she was growing into becoming.
Wow.
But she took time to listen to me intently. And she's one of those individuals that changed the entire trajectory of my life.
Beautiful.
And when I received a message from her this morning, because of course we care about what's happening in each other's lives. I know we all do, and it's important. She has the same philosophy as Hezekiah.
Wonderful.
Our children, although they are in our future, but they are our now.
Right.
We have an opportunity to be that example, living example of a most perfect love in action is what I encountered with Dr. Nina Meyerhoff.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And so the gratitude that at every step, every moment of my life, I have no anger, no bitterness. It's truly transformative.
It sounds
And
like
thank you for being here now.
so honored to hear your story and share space with you, Erica. And we must know Avon Madison is one of my mentors. I'm sure you know her if you know Tezekiah. And Tezekiah is from my hometown, Minnesota. So I have a great respect and love for her. So this comes to a close. It's such a beautiful, I see your breakfast behind you. I think you need to have, and I will go on the after chat and hold some space for you. And
I didn't even know that was there.
you need some nutrition. It sounds like your husband has put that on the table. So I will see you in the after chat after you have some nutrition.
Please let everyone know I'm coming. It may take me a few minutes to
Sure.
find that link
Yeah.
that Stan put in for me.
I
George.
believe it is in the chat. We always do put it here. It is in the chat. If you scroll down, Stan has put it in the chat, Erica.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a glare, so it's very hard to read my screen.
Yeah, if you pull, it's like 3. If you scroll up, you see the after chat Zoom link. Do you see it?
I have such a glare on here from the sun
Mm-hmm.
that it's a real challenge to be able to see right now. That's the only disadvantage of being outdoors. But
Yeah.
okay, I know I can copy the chat.
It is on your link that you were sent for the panelist link. So it's at the bottom of it, I believe, on that email.
Is it the one with the passcode?
Yes, I believe
I
there
got
is.
it.
Stan, it is on every link to the, yeah.
Okay,
so I'll see you
in
there.
the chat.
Okay, take care. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you in the after chat. And tomorrow I'll be back for Jim so he can get settled into his DC home. He's been on the road for quite a while. Take care and many blessings.
And many blessings to all of you.
Thank you so much.
David, please do not give that to the dog. Save it. I use it to cook with.
Okay.
Thank you for breakfast. I didn't even see you bring it in. Huh?